All right, so Michael Chandler has released a statement about Conor McGregor pulling out of this fight. It is, man, it's not like it's upsetting, to be honest. Like the way that I read it is like, wow, that's not good. And you got to keep in mind that he had a very notable tweet yesterday, that he definitely thought that the fight was still on, and then they canceled it. And so the statement that he just put out, you gotta read it and kind of understand it that way. There's obviously a lot of other stuff to talk about, so I'm going to start with all the different fights, the announcements, some stuff around the new card, Dana White's video of him, doing the announcements, and then I'm going to talk about Michael Chandler's statement and all of that after that. I also have a video of Ariel and Bisping's beef coming out today also, so check that out, and let's get into it. All right, so obviously it's not breaking news that Conor McGregor is out of UFC 303. We got a lot to talk about because I just heard a rumor that maybe some of you have heard as well about what the injury is, because not good, but we'll see. Also, Michael Bisping and Ariel Helwani have just thrown down the gauntlet, and it's MMA YouTube battle of the century. Bisping went at Ariel. Ariel went hard at Bisping. Who could have predicted this? Who could have predicted that we would have gotten a beef between Ariel and Bisping? I'm here for it, dude. I feel like they should settle it in the most part. Like, just put them in the cage, dude. Let's just solve it like that. Just go Bisping versus Ariel. Just settle your beefs in the cage, and we'll work it out. Well, this video, including the Ariel and Bisping part, ended up being like 38 minutes. So we're splitting it in two. All right. So this one, we're going to talk about the new UFC 303 card, some of the factors going into all this stuff, and then some picks for the fights. And then in the other video, we're going to talk about Ariel and Bisping's beef. So go check that out also. I'm going to put them up right around the same time. Oh, and just before everybody asks in the comments, I popped a blood vessel in my eyelid. That's why it looks like I'm wearing makeup on my eyelid. I'm not. Blood vessel blew up. So that's what's going on. Don't break my balls or break my balls. I don't care. Either way, I love you guys, even if you think I look like a girl now. What? All right. We're going to kick things off with Dana's announcement of the fight being canceled, as well as the replacement fights. And we're going to talk about the card. And then we're going to get into Ariel and Bisping. Let's jump into it.
All right, guys, here I am again. Conor McGregor is out of 303 versus Michael Chandler with an injury. The new main event is Alex Pereira, former not only UFC middleweight champion, he's also the first and only fighter to win both middleweight and light heavyweight titles in UFC history. He also did it in the shortest amount of time. He did it in 736 days and 7 fights. He finished 7 of 9 wins by knockout, which is a 78% finish rate, and won 10 of his last 11 fights, and he is facing former UFC light heavyweight champion Yuri Prohaska, who has an unbelievable 23 first-round wins. He has 25 by knockout, 3 by submission. That is a 97% finish rate.
97% finish rate is so crazy. I got a lot to say about this Yuri and Alex Pereira fight, though. Like, there's a big factor that someone very smart laid out for me that applies directly to this fight that we're going to talk about. But let's continue. And keep in mind, remember they were going to have all Mexican fighters on this card or something, like they were going to try to. Well, guess what? Now the co-main, you got the 2 most popular Mexican fighters. Well, certainly 2 of the most popular Mexican fighters right here.
The co-main event will be number 3 ranked Brian Ortega.
What the?
Who has the 2nd most finishes in featherweight history and the 2nd most submissions in featherweight history. He won Performance of the Night 8 times. And he will be taking on rising superstar Diego Lopez. He has 22 of his 24 wins coming by finish with 10 knockouts and 12 submissions. That's a 92% finish rate. Also, Jamal Hill is out with a knee injury. So, Carlos Ulberg, who is 11-1 and has 6 first-round finishes with 7 wins by knockout and 2 wins by submission and an 82% finish rate, and he's on a 6-fight win streak, will now be taking on Anthony Smith. He has 21 first-round finishes, 19 wins by knockout, 15 by submission, and ladies and gentlemen, that's a 90% finish rate. So, it has been a...
Let's go. That's a bit... Dude, that's a lot of stoppages between those guys, man. A lot of stoppages. Now, real quick, I just want to say this. And then, obviously, yesterday, Hamzat out of UFC Saudi Arabia with a violent illness. Dude, that's concerning, man. Like when you actually saw that picture, I don't know if you guys saw it. MMA Joey posted it on Twitter yesterday, but Khamzat is like hospitalized sick. He does not look good. So like, you know, people are like, oh, he's out of UFC Saudi Arabia. Like, I hope he's all right, man. I hope he's all right. Because here's the thing, dude. Really quick, not to derail this, but I just want to say this about Khamzat and you know, his immune system or whatever. Like these guys that train all day, every day, like the most, like these guys that are hysterical about training, hysterical. Okay. Gordon Ryan, Khamzat Chimaev, these guys' immune systems get nuked. Gordon Ryan literally lives with some kind of bacterial infection in his stomach where he's nauseous 100% of the time. Okay. Like he's like violently ill all the time. Khamzat, when he got the virus, how'd that go? When he got COVID, he thought he was going to have to retire, you know? And now whatever's going on here, it's not, you know, they pay for it in the gym. But you know who else paid for it this week is Hunter Campbell and the matchmakers because are you kidding me? Like with now knowing what they were going through, trying to solve for this card, you got Conor McGregor out, like, and you're, you know, scrambling for the last 10 days, trying to figure out how you're going to salvage this card, you know, then Jamal Hill goes down, right? And then right when you finally get your feet out under you, because obviously they had just locked all this stuff in before they announced, then boom, Khamzat's out of UFC Saudi Arabia. They must have been like, dude, what, like whatever's the opposite of like, hey, let's go buy a lottery ticket. They're like, dude, I don't know what is happening. What is happening? And headliners every time. That is insane, dude. Anyway, so congratulations to UFC for putting together an absolutely incredible card because it is exactly that still, you know. And I want to talk about the fights a little bit, but I just wanted to say this about the emotional impact of Conor being out. Like, I was certainly someone who thought that Ariel was being fed bad information. I mean, I wasn't sure, obviously, but I was suspected just because of how this whole thing played out when it was like, okay, Conor's out, you know, cancel the press conference. Conor's out. Oh, wait, never mind. We're good to go. And all of this is coming through Ariel. And then all of a sudden later, it's like, never mind. We're not good to go. You know, looks like it's going to end up being bad again. It was just super suspicious. Not because of Ariel's a source, just because like the way it was playing, it didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. It just didn't make any sense from the outside. So you're like, okay, Ariel is maybe being fed disinformation so that Conor can break Chandler's, you know, like break his brain or whatever. But I will say that thanks to Ariel doing all that, finding out that Conor was out was not the catastrophic emotional impact that it would have been. Can you imagine if we had they went and did that press conference, you know, Conor's on stage doing his thing. We're like, oh my God, he's back. And then just bam, he's out. Never mind. He's out. That would have been a calamity. But so also before I talk about the fight, the rumor that Bisping shared on his channel was from John McCarthy. And he said that the injury is to Conor's leg, Conor's repaired leg. Not good, dude. If that's the case, that's not good at all, dude, obviously. But again, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, if it was kind of like, well, maybe you could still fight, you know, maybe you could still fight. But that actually doesn't really mean anything because Conor is crazy. Conor's never pulled out of a fight. Never. And we know he's fought through crazy injuries. So the fact that he, you know, got hurt and then he was like, never, you know, I'm still going to fight. And then later pulled out. It's probably pretty serious, dude. Like, it's probably pretty serious. So we'll see. Who knows? You know, now thinking back to the rumor that I heard when it first started, I heard it was a head injury, right? Like, I had heard from very credible sources that it was a head injury. And then later on, said credible sources hit me up and they were like, hey, that information's bad. But that makes me think that Conor put that, like, that now I'm back on disinformation on that one because Conor does not want people to know. If it is his leg, he doesn't want anyone to know that, obviously, because then going into fights, people are going to know that his leg's compromised. He's not going to want anyone to know, you know, what the injury is, you know, depending on what it is. But it's very possible that was like, let's say it's a head injury, or maybe it is a head injury. Who knows? You know what I mean? Anyway, all right. So on the fights, though, okay, here's one thing I wanted to show you guys. Check this. So here is now UFC, like the Google like fight cards have been weird, right? Like they had Holloway engaged, he canceled for 300, whatever. But one thing that people are forgetting when they're looking at this card, okay, is does that something seem out of place there? Silva and Chiasson on the main card. Does someone seem out of place? And is someone missing? Because you go to the early prelims and you have Michael Venom Page and Ian Gary on the prelims. Okay, I am assuming that they are on the main card because why would they be on the early prelims, you know? But I don't know. I mean, like, it just reminding everyone that fight is on the card still seems like a good move. You know what I mean? But anyway, so Alex Pereira, Yuri Prochazka. I'm not going to do like a full breakdown. I'm just going to say the following. Yuri Prochazka, here is the main thing to consider, okay? So I'll just tell you who it was. I talked to Lloyd, who is Lloyd from Vayner Sports, huge, very, very like big agent in UFC. And we were talking about, like, I just talked to him kind of just off the cuff when the whole Conor thing started. And we were just talking about replacement fighters and the things to consider. And the thing that he said to me that was so smart, and it directly relates to this Yuri Prochazka thing, is we were talking about Max Holloway. And he's like, the thing is, dude, he's like, when guys get kicked in the legs like that over and over, he's like, they really can't train. Like, they have to recover. You know, that really puts a damper on them, their ability to train. And so a quick turnaround after a fight where a guy really got his legs kicked out from under him pretty heavily is going to be a tough turnaround. And we were just talking about whether Max could, you know, come back and fight at 303. Okay, well, fast forward to now that we know that Pereira and Yuri Prochazka are fighting. Well, can you think of anybody who on UFC 300 got their legs absolutely brutalized? Because Yuri Prochazka got his legs absolutely brutalized. Rakic murked his legs, dude. Just absolutely murked his legs. So that does seem notable. But Yuri Prochazka is also the samurai crazy pants that'll like, you know, I don't know, just he's like, my leg doesn't hurt. And you're like, are you sure, dude? Looks like it hurts. And then Anthony Smith versus Olberg. I can't wait to see what that line is, like what the betting line is. Because, dude, if there has been a more dramatic grappling advantage between two guys, like in a UFC fight than Anthony has over Olberg, I don't know what it is. And like that fight, people are going to be sleeping on Anthony, and they shouldn't. They really shouldn't. If Anthony is able to get a hold of him in any capacity, grab a wrist, grab a leg, grab whatever, and kind of wrestle fuck him to the ground, that fight's going to be over. That's just a fact. Now, Olberg is a fucking nightmare on the feet, obviously. An absolute sheer nightmare. But, you know, like I said, Anthony, tremendous grappling advantage there. And Diego Lopez against Brian Ortega, that's just an absolute barn burner. I cannot wait to see that fight. Diego Lopez is, cannot wait. Cannot wait to see that fight. And Ortega's only lost 3 fights, dude. That's so crazy. Like, I like think of like, oh, you know, Ortega like hit a skid. It's like, not really, dude. You know? He only lost 3 fights. And dude, he beat Yair Rodriguez in his last one. The guy's a fucking merc machine. All right, so let's talk Chandler and his statement. This is just kind of sad, dude. So if you go to Twitter, right? Let's just say that we wanted to go to Michael Chandler's Twitter and look at what he posted yesterday, right? He said this right here. Whoops. Okay, here, right here. Oh, wow, they fact-checked him. What dicks. Okay. Wow, dude. Wow, you guys. Okay, so 18 hours ago, MMA fact of the day. Amount of times these fighters have pulled out of their fights in their careers. Conor and Michael Chandler, 0. And then look at the readers added context. Conor McGregor has pulled out of his scheduled fight against Chandler in 303. That's cold, you guys. That is fucked up. But anyway, so as of 18 hours ago, he was under the impression that the fight was still a go. Okay. So now it's off, and this is what his statement is, right? So, Conor McGregor was never the safe bet as an opponent. He was always high risk, maybe the highest reward, but the biggest opportunity. There's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong in business. You only take risk to grow or remain comfortable where you are. Embrace the uncertainty. Seek the opportunity, take calculated risk. That's what Michael Chandler does. And if it doesn't go as planned, redirect the course to something even more great. Our respect to the man who represents the fight world better than any of us we've ever known. No fear, no limits, no excuses. Make your hard work your passion. Who cares on the other side of the punch? Okay, so, you know, I mean, listen, dude, like, God, this is just rough, dude. You know, like, it's just rough, man. Because at the end of the day, it's like, this guy is not a spring chicken, you know? And these years right now that he has been, you know, waiting to fight Conor McGregor are like his prime in terms of popularity, earning potential, right? This guy makes a lot of money, dude. He could have fought 3 times. You're talking 7 figures easy that he has missed out on to wait for Conor. It sucks, dude, you know? Now, I know that Conor would have, what's the right way to put this? Like, Conor would have fought, like, if he could have. I think that Conor, you have to at least trust that if Conor could have fought, he would have, right? But I think it is fair to have the discussion about, you know, the videos of Conor partying and stuff right before he got injured. You know, like, who knew what, when, you know? Because it was like, here's Conor partying in the club. Here's Conor partying in the club. Boop, press conference canceled. That's why I thought it was a work, because it was all so weird. But like, so when did they know? Because Conor's in the club, dude. Now we got to go back and think about that. Conor's in the club. So, I don't know. I just feel for Chandler, man. Like, he's like one of the rare, like, really genuinely good dudes in the industry. He doesn't swear. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. One time, I got a super juicy piece of, you know, like combat sports community gossip, you know, like real juicy. And I was talking to him because he was going to come on the show. And I was like, dude, I'm like, but you got to come on early, you know, so I could tell you this. I got a crazy piece of gossip. And he literally responded to something like, is it anything that I need to know? You know, like it was something like, you know, anybody else, like I can tell you right now, if I text that to Bisbing, he's calling me, you know, or like, or anybody, like anybody, everybody's calling me. They're like, give it to me. Chandler is like, oh, if it's gossip and it doesn't affect me, I don't think I need to know about it. I don't know, dude. He's a good person. He's like a genuinely really good person. And man, I like now no matter how conflicted you are about like having a hard time rooting against Conor in a fight, you have to root for Chandler. You absolutely have to at this point, given what's happened. So anyway, that's what I got for this video. I got a whole other video about Conor partying and the Bisping and Ariel beef coming up. So look for that. Love you guys. Bye.